Well, it certainly sounds like a bar or restaurant on the side of a football stadium. It's the Fields Sidebar, and we're going to be taking a look at this. We find the Fields Sidebar in the famous Search and Reporting app inside of Splunk. Let's go ahead and take a look at this Fields Sidebar, and let's see all of the goodness that it can bring. You see, the magic of Splunk is really its ability to go in and present fields out of our machine data. Fields are going to make it so powerful for us to analyze data. Fields are going to be discovered by Splunk both at the time of bringing your data in, and in fact, fields may be defined as part of your source type inside of Splunk, but fields are also going to be discovered by Splunk when we are searching at search time as well. So I'm going to go in and once again ask for all of the stuff in our test index. And when I do this over all time, we are going to see that we see all of our events and our field sidebar populates. So this field sidebar begins with the option to go ahead and hide it, although I must admit I never do that because it's so important to work with. If you notice, there are 3 selected fields by default in Splunk, and that is the host field, the source field, and the source type. Notice what it means to be a selected field is that these will be highlighted in the event that you are looking at. So notice here is an event inside of Splunk, and highlighted is host equals Ant-Man laptop as a hyperlink, source equals the tutorial data that we uploaded and the exact file inside of it, and the source type is the source type that was used for this data. Splunk looked at this data and said, oh, I recognize this. This is access combined W cookie formatted data. This is a famous format coming off of Apache web servers. So it's these selected fields that are highlighted for us. By the way, what's the significance of the hyperlink? Well, if I wanted to quickly see all of the data from the vendor sales log, I could click on this and quickly add it to search. And so now I'm doing a search of just the vendor sales log source information. I'm going to hit back in our browser, yet another way that we can return to the previous query that we were working with. And underneath these 3 selected fields, we have the interesting fields that are in the index. And these interesting fields qualify for this display right here. Notice there's 11 more fields that didn't qualify to be displayed as part of the interesting fields. And the reason for that is these other fields did not appear in at least 20% of the events. So in order to be considered an interesting field and be displayed here, the field must exist in at least 20% of our events. So if I click on 11 more fields, we would be able to go in and find those other fields because this, of course, lists absolutely every field. Notice there's an event coverage column. So if I sort descending by event coverage, or actually an ascending search, right, order, the ascending sort, I see that, oh yeah, the root field, the UID field, and the category ID field, as well as the action field, these didn't qualify because they didn't appear in enough of the events. They didn't qualify to be considered interesting fields. By the way, if there was a field that was really, really important to you that you wanted to make part of your selected fields, you could do that right here. So I could select code and I could close this window, and notice we now have code as another selected field within our Splunk data that we are viewing. I'm going to go back to the all fields and uncheck that, because one thing about doing that, you will have code pop up as a selected field anytime those events are in your result set. So it's kind of like a semi-permanent change. And since I don't really need to see that field as one of my selected fields, I'll get rid of it. Now, notice there's more information shown to us here in the field sidebar. Look in like at this bytes value. Notice there's this numeric pound sign to the left. That's to tell us that the bytes field is made up of numeric values. Yes, and the other type of field you can have is an alphanumeric field, like client IP. Because of the periods that are in those values, Splunk sees this as alphanumeric values. What's another alphanumeric field example here? Well, the file field is alphanumeric, and it contains these various file names. So, we are learning so much about our data in Splunk by just examining the field sidebar. Something else that's there, you notice, is a number off to the right of the field name. That number is the number of unique values for that field. Yeah, so if I look at item ID, I notice there are 14 alphanumeric unique values for that field. When I click on that field, the field window comes out and it says, hey, this is not a selected field. Here are some quick reports Splunk can give you about this field. And oh yeah, here's the top 10 values. So here are the top 10 values for the item ID field. Notice EST-15 appears in 2,114 of the events. That's almost 8% of the events. Now, one of the reasons this field sidebar is so important in Splunk is because fields are so critically important in Splunk. We saw that there was this file field. Maybe I need to get all of the events that have a file field equal to the success.do file. Yeah, this is important to be able to pull up all of the events that have the file set to success.do, and these fields allow me to easily do this. So you can see there are 2,154 different events where the file field is set to success.do. So we're going to be giving you a video on how we search and how we use fields in searches, but suffice it to say, it's very, very important to be able to search on these fields. And some of you eagle-eyed viewers probably notice that there is the ability to extract new fields in the field sidebar. So we may have a field like right here in one of our access combined W cookie type of events. You see this field right here? This is actually a transaction ID field. And we notice that it is not in our fields. So I'll be having a video that involves that field for you. I'll teach you how to extract that as a new field for Splunk to allow you to take advantage of. Fields, they're incredibly important and fundamental to how Splunk operates and why it is so valuable to us. And in this video, we took a close look at all of the great options and all the great information that's available to us in the Fields sidebar of the Search and Reporting app inside of Splunk. Well, as you know, we've mentioned some of them. We've got more great videos on the way for you. I hope you'll be joining me for those. Thanks so much for watching.